All right, this video is going to show you how to do user creation for the Literacy Minnesota account in Exact Path and Courseware. We've had a couple questions come up recently around how to create users, but also that when a user is created, they're not present or they disappear on you. And I want to walk you through it and highlight the areas that need to be highlighted and really paid close attention to so that you are not losing those users when you create them. So as you'll see on my screen, we are logged into courseware here, and I'm going to go to the administration center on that top black bar. Once I'm there, just like I would create a user, I'm going to go to users and manage. Right. If we're going in to edit an existing user, we can find them in our list or search them here, then use this Actions Edit User button. Okay. But to create a new user, what you'll do is you'll come in and you'll click Create User. And there are some mandatory fields that you're going to have to pay attention to here. First one is status active, right? That's going to default to active, so you don't need to worry about that. System role, you're going to want to select learner so that you have a new learner there. First and last name are mandatory, so I'm just going to put in a test name so that we have it as a demo. Email is not mandatory, but I do recommend it, especially if a student has a Google email that they could use with single sign-on. Whatever email is in here is what's going to be linked to the account, and it can also be updated there. The other piece that's mandated here on the right side is the grade. And remember that we want to select grade 12 for our students, our adult learners in our account, right? Not as important for the courseware side, but if you're using Exact Path with them, this will trigger that they'll be identified as a 12th grade student, and it will start them at those standards and work back in that diagnostic to correctly identify where they're at. Okay. The next piece is the login credentials. Username, if you have unique usernames that you're using in your program, go ahead, put that there. I like to use the email address if to keep it consistent, but you don't have those consistent ones. So you decide if you have specific naming conventions at your site, though, please follow those. And then your password, which can be updated by the student at the time that they log in, or you can create this with them and they can go ahead and figure it out. The next piece that's really important is this account structures location. And this is that the piece where I was talking about that people are creating users and then all of a sudden the user's not there, right? And it's because we're not correctly identifying where this user should show up within the program. Now, I did take a screenshot of yours in your program so you can see it. And I'm going to slide that over here right now. So your account structures location, you can see here, there's a little caret next to MNABE. You want to click that so you can see all these programs. And then scroll down on the right side until you find the program that you're in, right? Where you need that student to show up. And make sure to put a check mark in the box next to where that student should be. If there's no check mark, the system's reading that student but doesn't kind of really belong anywhere right now. They're just floating out there as a user that's been created to be assigned later. So if I was, my program's name was high school, I would just want to make sure that that was checked, and that would signify that that student's going to show up at my location, right? That helps avoid creating duplicate users. Once you're done with that, you're pretty much done. You don't necessarily need to fill out any of these two sections. You absolutely can if you want to, but there's not any major needs that are going to say that you need to put something in either one of these, right? One thing I have seen is some people will check the ABE button here. But if you don't, that's not a big deal either. Okay. When you're done, you can either save and return to users or save and create another user if you have multiple to create. But really the piece that I wanted to highlight is super important is that account structure locations. Then I'd say number 2 is making sure they're marked as a 12th grade, even though they are adult learners. And that should help clear things up in the account and make sure that we're not losing users when we create them.